Hello, it's Mex here, co-founder of Women in the Food Industry. This is going to be the start of a series of podcasts with some incredible women who we're going to chat to and record their stories. So we're starting off today with Luciana Berry. You may remember her from being on MasterChef The Professionals back in 2014. Since then, she's opened up a successful private catering business and is also a mentor of Le Cordon Bleu. She's here today to talk about some Brazilian food and all sorts of other things. So, how did you get into cooking and onto MasterChef in the first place?
So when I arrived in London,
Mm-hmm.
I missed a lot of my Brazilian cuisine. So I was just like learning English, and I miss a lot of the Brazilian food. So I started to ask my mom and parents, my grandmother recipes, because I was really, really missing the food. Because my family was always like a very foodie. They had their restaurants, and we always ate very well at home, like a proper lunch every single day. And then when I came here, so I was like very missing my mom's food.
Yeah.
So I decided to start cooking. So I was just cooking for like a few friends, and one day I was leaving Harrow School, like at this boarding school.
Yeah.
And one day I asked my father-in-law if I could cook for the Harrow boys because they live in school.
Yeah.
And the food at school was horrible, terrible, as always, like at the school food. And was a lady that she was cooking for them, but the food was terrible. And then we go for dinner parties, and people love it. And I said, my goodness, I could do anything. Anything would be better than this. So I asked him if I could cook. And he said, but what are you going to cook? So I did like a very basic Brazilian dish.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's a Russian dish, but we eat a lot in Brazil. It's like a chicken stroganoff.
Okay.
And they love it so much. And then I decided to, so they loved it so much. And the next week, another housemaster asked me, oh, Luciana, can you cook that dish for me? So in a whole month, all the houses in school want me to cook for them. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to open a company. This was 2007. And then one day, the Prince Edward came to Harrow School, and they had master ask me to cook for him.
Oh, wow.
And by that time, I didn't have any degree in cuisine. I didn't do cordon bleu, nothing. So just amateur person cooking, like a home cook, like a nice, decent food.
Yes.
And then when they asked me to cook for Prince Edward, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? And so I cooked for him. And then after I realized, I said, no, I have to take like a course because I cannot like do like that. So I did. So I decided to do cordon bleu, but this was after my son was born because I got pregnant, and it's very difficult. It's almost impossible to do anything when you're pregnant.
Yeah. How long was the course then?
So the course was 9 months.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I had my son, and then when he was 1 year old, so I put him in the nursery. Yeah. So I did the course.
Yes.
Cordon bleu. And then after the course, when I had my degree, a week after, I applied for MasterChef Professionals. And everybody said, even my teacher in Cordon Bleu said, Luciana, you have no chance, Luciana. You haven't done anything like a professional in restaurants.
Yes.
But I could be on because I had already a company since 2008.
Yes, yeah.
So I was already working as a professional, but I haven't been in a professional kitchen.
Yeah.
And the chef said, you have no chance, Luciana. And I was like, no, chef, I have a no already. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get for that yes. Come on. So when I did the interview, they loved it the way I was like a woman, young, foreigner. Everything was difficult for me, and I was even insisting. I didn't give up. Yeah. And so they asked me to be part of that year. 2014.
Yes.
MasterChef Professionals.
Yes.
And then so I was going every task I was going past, and my teacher said, "Listen, what are you doing there? I don't know. And what are you cooking there?" And I said, chef, I'm being myself.
Yeah.
So the things that I learned at school, the techniques with my um, my instinct. Like women, we are very good on that. Like we follow our instinct to follow what we think is right, and just do it. Sometimes like people say like, oh, do it like that, do like that. No, just listen to yourself. Be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Be what you want to be. Just be honest, just with you. Don't listen what people want to say it, because I always tell people society always try to put us in a position.
Yeah.
But and sometimes we are not happy. So I always say, be honest with your feelings, because at the end of the day, it's just you and yourself.
Okay, good advice. Good advice. So what happened after MasterChef then? How did your career change much?
Yeah, after MasterChef, I did. Changed it a lot, because before I was just cooking like in Harrow, where this area here in North London, and then I was cooking. So people saw me on TV, and then so the embassy asked me to do a few things for the ambassador, and there are a lot of Brazilian banks. So I did the Amazon Day, and then French banks, Parliament, 10 Down Street, and then Prince Andrew. So a lot of people, because they want to see like this new Brazilian cuisine that they never seen before.
Yeah.
And because we always have like the Brazilian churrascarias, like the Brazilian steak.
Yeah.
So this cuisine that I was showing them, because I come from Salvador, where the slaves came to South America. So our cuisine is very African.
If one was to go to Brazil for the first time, what sort of food should people try?
Yeah, I think like they should try the feijoada.
Yeah.
Because this feijoada is a dish that we eat every single day in Brazil. It's not the big one, but with beans the same way, but not as big. And I think the second one, they should try this muqueca.
Yeah.
Is this fish, Brazilian fish stew, because this is delicious. It's made in a clay pot.
Yeah.
And it's so traditional. And we have like all the ladies dressing like in white lace dresses.
Oh.
It's so beautiful. Like we do a dance before the dish.
What do you think are some of the advantages of being a female chef?
In the chef life, when you're a woman, is difficult. It's not easy at all.
No.
It actually doesn't help at all when you're a woman. Because I go sometimes to many restaurants to do like to do like 3-4 days, like to learn new techniques, and I know the way they look at us. They think we don't have the force to do that. We're gonna do something different. We won't do as proper as them. So I had so many problems, but there is always I just don't listen to them. I just feel that I'm doing the right thing, and they're just jealous because we can do many things at the same time. I only can do one thing. I always tell them like you can chop an onion perfectly, and I can chop an onion, and I can look at an onion, I can do this, I can do all this stuff. I can think about who's gonna pick up my son and at school. So it's like so in the end of the day, so I just always believe in that. And there's so many kitchens that I have been, and there was women in the kitchen, and I have seen so many women cry in the kitchen.
Yeah. Because
the chefs have been horrible with them, and even places like I remember years ago I went to Smithfield Market. Like when I went there in the morning, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was the only woman. I was 29 years old and went to buy 20 kilos of fillet steak. They started like, pew, gorgeous, look at it. And I really want to leave. I remember going past it's like a curtain, like a plastic curtain that you go outside. Yeah. And I remember that touched my face. My face was out of the shop, of the market, because I want to cry, because I felt like horrible. The man was just like, look the gorgeous. And when I put my face out, and I was like, do you know what? I'm not leaving this place. And I stopped crying, and I came inside like fighting. And I started talking the same language as them, And so I always tell the girls when they feel upset, when it's people that try to do, because they do that in this job. Yeah. Just like, don't cry, cry, leave the cry for later. Yeah. Leave the cry for later. But in front of them, fight for that, fight for your space. Because if you don't fight, who will fight for your space.
Yeah, that's another good advice.
And I remember I did a talk in the London Business School about women in the chef career.
Yeah.
And after the talk, I had like so many women came to me, said, "Oh, Luciana, I did a gastronomic in university in Brazil, and I did a course in Cordon Bleu. I did this, but I couldn't do it because when I went to work in a restaurant, I was crying every day after shift. So now I came back. Now I'm working in a bank. Now I'm going to work as a estate agent. But my passion is always to be in the kitchen. But if I have this talk with you before, I would fight for my space. But on that time was just men, 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 men. Now it's still like a man, but sometimes I feel like a woman. There is not many that give their advice, like to say to them, like, come on, like be strong, you know. And a lot of women. So sometimes I do catering. When I do all the time, I do catering. I invite them to help me, to work with me. Like sometimes, and they feel so good. They're like, oh my God, I love it. And I was like, you know what? Don't give up. Don't give up. Come on. If you want to do it, believe in yourself. And do something. Yeah.
Great. Okay. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Luciana. That's absolutely brilliant.